Marcus Thompson's security badge was found 3 days after his shift ended at Sterling Data Solutions. What the CCTV captured explains why no one works Section C anymore. This is what was recorded. There was only one rule when working night shifts at the data center: never acknowledge the man in the gray suit who walks the halls between 3 and 4 a.m. I thought my supervisor was messing with me when he said this during orientation. Sterling Data Solutions housed server farms for Microsoft, Amazon, half the Fortune 500. My job was simple: monitor system alerts, respond to temperature warnings, make sure nothing caught fire. What could go wrong in a concrete building full of computers? But that place, it breathed differently after sunset. During the day, you'd hear technicians talking, keyboards clicking, normal workplace sounds. After midnight, though, all you had was the mechanical drone of cooling fans and electronic beeping from 10,000 machines. The fluorescent lights cast a sickly glow that made the server racks look like technological tombstones stretching into darkness. 3 weeks in, that's when I first saw him. I was walking through Section C at 3:15 a.m. Server Rack 47 had been throwing temperature alerts all week. Probably just a faulty sensor, but company policy required visual inspection. The corridors between these towers were barely shoulder width, creating this claustrophobic maze of humming metal and blinking red lights. That's when I heard the footsteps behind me. They matched my pace exactly. When I stopped, they stopped. When I moved, they followed with mechanical precision. The sound echoed off concrete walls in a way that made every hair on my arm stand up. I turned around. 20 feet back, walking toward me in this expensive gray suit, was a tall figure. His face was alabaster white, almost glowing under the harsh lighting. His eyes were fixed directly on mine with this unwavering intensity that made my chest feel tight. He didn't acknowledge me, didn't blink, just maintained that predatory stare as he continued his measured approach. I remembered the rule and forced myself to look away. Focused on my tablet, pretended to check system diagnostics while my hands shook so badly I could barely hold the device. The footsteps continued past me, echoing down the corridor until they faded into that mechanical silence. But something was wrong with how he moved. Too fluid, too precise. The next day, I cornered Marcus during shift change. "The man in the gray suit," I said. "What's the real story?" Marcus's face went chalk white. He pulled me into the break room and double-checked that the door was closed. "That entity has been walking these halls for 15 years, he whispered, glancing around like something might be listening. 3 different night shift workers tried to interact with it. All 3 quit within a week and refused to explain why. His breath smelled like stale coffee and fear. Thompson worked here 2 years. Solid employee, never missed a shift, knew these systems better than anyone. But after he tried to approach Gray Suit, everything changed. Started showing up looking like he hadn't slept in days, jumping at every sound, constantly checking over his shoulder. Marcus paused, and I noticed his hands trembling slightly. His final night here, security cameras caught him in Section C at 3:47 a.m., talking to someone off camera. Audio picked up his voice saying, "Please, I didn't mean to bother you," over and over again. My stomach dropped. What happened to him? Found him in his Honda Civic the next morning. Massive heart attack. He was 32 years old. That night, I barricaded myself in the control room between 3 and 4 a.m., watched every security monitor, scanning feeds from different building sections. At exactly 3:23 a.m., camera 7 in Section C cut to static for 43 seconds. When it flickered back online, I saw gray fabric disappearing around a corner. I switched between cameras, tracking his movement through the facility. He moved with deliberate purpose, never hesitating, never looking around. Every camera he passed experienced identical 43-second blackouts. But then I noticed something that made my blood turn to ice water. He wasn't wandering randomly. His route was methodical, calculated, leading him directly toward the control room, toward me. I watched in growing horror as he progressed through Section B, then Section A. Each camera showed him getting closer, that pale face, never changing expression, those black eyes never blinking. With each step, my breathing became more labored, like someone was slowly crushing my chest. When he reached the corridor outside the control room, I killed all monitors and sat in complete darkness. Tried to control my panicked breathing, but I could hear those measured footsteps. In the hallway, getting closer, closer, then stopping directly outside my door. The handle turned slowly. I pressed myself back in the chair, eyes squeezed shut like a terrified child. The door creaked open and this wave of Arctic air flooded in. so sudden I could see my breath condensing in the darkness. The temperature plummeted 20 degrees in seconds. I don't know how long I sat there paralyzed, but when I finally opened my eyes, he was gone. The monitors had automatically restarted, showing empty corridors bathed in that harsh fluorescent glare. But something had changed in the control room. Next to my lukewarm coffee was a small white business card that absolutely hadn't been there before. I picked it up with trembling fingers. Completely blank except for an address printed in precise black letters. My apartment address, Unit 4B. I submitted my resignation the next morning, but leaving Sterling data didn't end it. Even after relocating to Phoenix, 300 miles away, I still jolt awake at exactly 3:23 a.m. sometimes. And when I look through my bedroom blinds, there's this figure in a gray suit standing under the streetlight, just watching my building with that same unwavering stare. That business card is still on my nightstand. I've incinerated it, shredded it, thrown it in dumpsters across the city, but it always reappears by morning. Shows up in different locations around my apartment, kitchen counter, folded inside books I'm reading, taped to my bathroom mirror. Last week, I found it tucked inside my work laptop bag. And now I've started noticing something else. Security cameras around my apartment complex cut to static for exactly 43 seconds every night between 3 and 4 a.m. Have you ever checked if you're being watched through your own security cameras? Dr. Patricia Chen's keycard was used to access County General's morgue at 2:47 a.m. on October 15, 2024. The problem? Dr. Chen was home asleep 30 miles away. This is what the security footage revealed. The morgue at County General was supposed to be empty during my shift, just the bodies waiting for morning autopsies and the constant hum of refrigeration units. I'd been working hospital security for 6 months, covering the basement, levels where they stored the morgue, old equipment, and medical waste. It wasn't glamorous work, but the pay covered my rent, and the isolation helped with my anxiety after coming back from deployment. Too many people, too much noise, it all made my PTSD spike. The morgue was always my final checkpoint each round. You adapt to the formaldehyde smell and the mechanical humming of cooling systems. Dr. Chen had given me access codes during orientation. Just verify the temperature alarms aren't active, she'd explained. These bodies are evidence in active homicide cases. Preservation is absolutely critical. Everything followed routine until I heard someone typing. 2:47 a.m., approaching the morgue entrance when this sound froze me in place. Deliberate clicking of keyboard keys, methodical and professional, like someone composing official documentation. The sound was definitely coming from Dr. Chen's office, which connected to the main examination room. But Chen never worked nights. I was supposed to be the only living person on this entire floor. I pushed through the morgue entrance quietly, moving toward her office. The door was slightly open, and monitor light flickered blue across the walls. The typing continued, steady, patient, unhurried. Through the crack, I saw a woman at Chen's workstation. Scrubs, dark hair and a ponytail, exactly how Dr. Chen always appeared during day shifts. But her posture was unnatural, sitting too straight, too motionless, like someone had arranged a corpse at the desk. I knocked gently on the doorframe. "Dr. Chen? Didn't realize you were working late." The typing stopped instantly. Her head rotated toward me with this mechanical movement, and I saw her face clearly. It was Chen's face, but the skin was pale gray, almost translucent. Her eyes were solid black, no whites, no pupils, just endless darkness. When she smiled, her teeth appeared too sharp, too numerous. "Hello, Marcus," she said in Chen's exact voice, though it sounded like it was traveling through water. "Just catching up on case reports. Don't let me interrupt your rounds." I backed away from the doorway, heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I'll let you finish up." I practically sprinted through the rest of my rounds, checking every room twice, my flashlight beam jumping erratically because my hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I reached the security station, I dialed Dr. Chen's emergency number with trembling fingers. She answered after several rings, voice thick with sleep. "Marcus, what's wrong? It's almost 3 in the morning." "Dr. Chen, are you at the hospital right now?" "What? No, I'm home in bed. Why would I be there?" I explained what I'd witnessed, and silence stretched across the line for what felt like hours. When she finally spoke, her tone had transformed completely, urgent and deeply concerned. "Marcus, listen very carefully. Go back to the morgue immediately and check the intake log by the entrance. Read me the most recent entry, word for word. Walking back through those corridors felt like descending into hell. Every shadow seemed to writhe in my peripheral vision. The morgue was silent now. No typing, no sounds except those refrigeration units humming their mechanical lullaby. The intake log sat on a clipboard near the entrance. The last entry was in Dr. Chen's precise handwriting, dated that morning, Jane Doe 47th examination completed. Cause of death, suicide by pharmaceutical overdose. Case resolved. Body released to next of kin. I read it to Chen over the phone. "That's impossible," she whispered. "Jane Doe 47 is still here. We haven't completed examination yet. She has no next of kin. She's been unclaimed for 3 weeks. My mouth went bone dry. Should I check the storage units? Yes. But Marcus, be extremely careful. I approached the wall of refrigerated storage drawers, each labeled with numbers and intake dates. Unit 47 was positioned at chest height. My palms were slick with sweat as I gripped the chrome handle and pulled the drawer open. Empty. Just a neatly folded white sheet where a body should have been. I verified the label again, definitely Unit 47, and according to the computer database, it should have contained an unidentified female in her 30s. The typing resumed, this time from the main examination room. I crept toward the sound and peered through the doorway. A woman was perched on one of the stainless steel tables, bare feet dangling like a child's. She was working on an antique manual typewriter that absolutely hadn't been there during previous rounds. Her back was toward me, hospital gown stained with dark, spreading patches. Hair hung in wet tangles around her shoulders. Skin had that same corpse-gray pallor I'd witnessed on the fake Chen. She was typing the same message repeatedly. I didn't kill myself. I didn't kill myself. I didn't kill myself. When each page filled, she'd tear it out and insert fresh paper, then begin again. The floor around the examination table was carpeted with these sheets, dozens of them, all containing that same desperate plea written over and over. I started backing away, but my foot struck a metal instrument tray, sending it clattering across the tile floor. The typing stopped immediately. Her head began turning toward me with this slow, impossible rotation, like an owl's neck swiveling a full 180 degrees. I didn't wait to see her face. I ran. I spent the remaining hours locked in the security office, monitoring morgue cameras obsessively. They showed empty rooms, everything appearing normal, but somehow I couldn't trust what those screens were displaying. Next morning, Dr. Chen arrived early and went directly to Unit 47. She called me 20 minutes later. "The body's returned," she said, sounding utterly exhausted. "But Marcus, there's something you need to know. I conducted additional tests yesterday, more thorough than initial examination. Jane Doe 47 didn't commit suicide. The wound patterns clearly indicate homicide stage to appear self-inflicted. I quit that job immediately, but Dr. Chen had one final revelation. 3 months after I left, they arrested the killer, a night shift nurse who had been systematically murdering patients and falsifying death certificates. He confessed to killing Jane Doe, said he staged the suicide because he knew she had no family to ask uncomfortable questions. But here's what still destroys my sleep. When police searched his apartment, they found hundreds of typed pages scattered throughout every room, all containing the same message written obsessively: "I didn't kill myself." The typewriter they recovered from his bedroom, same exact model as the one I'd seen in that morgue. And last month, I received a package with no return address. Inside was a single typed page with that familiar message. But this time, there was something added at the bottom. "You know the truth now, Marcus."